Many things are done in the name of science. There is a need to advance our technology in order to provide food for a growing world population, or to provide medicine and cures for sickness and disease. From see-through animals to clones and even one wild and crazy idea, take a look at our list of 10 animals created by science. See-through frog. Frogs come in nearly every color, from the dull greens to the vivid yellows and reds of their tropical relatives. Some frogs are even transparent and you can see right through them, which is probably what gave Japanese scientists the idea to create a see-through frog by bringing together genes from frogs with unusually pale skin. In these frogs, their skin is see-through in their early lives. What does this mean? It means that there is no need to dissect frogs for medical research, as you can see right through the frog, see its blood vessels and even its heart pumping. However, the mutation is rare, as only 1 in 16 frogs end up being transparent. EnviroPig. This might be a little bit gross, but the EnviroPig was genetically engineered to produce up to less than 65% phosphorus through its urine and feces. Environmentally, pigs are very destructive to the land they are raised on. The high phosphorus from their waste ends up in lakes, rivers, and ocean deltas, where the high phosphorus waste can cause outbursts of algae, which rapidly depletes the water's oxygen, creating vast dead zones for fish and other aquatic life. The thing about the EnviroPig is that it is a genetically modified animal bred for human consumption. There are many people who are against GMOs, and this could be why the program lost its funding in 2012. It could be possible in the future that some livestock might become available for sale for human consumption. Would you eat GMO-modified meat? Killer bees. You might be thinking that killer bees are a natural species, but what is little known about these creatures is that they were accidentally created by scientists who were trying to increase honey production, and instead ended up with a killer bee. European species of honeybees were introduced to South America, but because of the heat, the bees would not collect honey. So they mixed an African bee gene with the European bee and developed a hybrid. Everything looked good until these new bees adopted some extreme colony defense instincts. If you disturb a European bee hive, only about 10% of the hive would attack you. Killer bees, on the other hand, are so much more aggressive that when their hive is disturbed, the entire colony attacks you. Somehow, thousands of these bees managed to escape, and they made their way across South America and eventually were even seen in the US. Since then, killer bees have caused the death of at least 400 people across the world. Super cows. The Belgian super cow is known as somewhat of a mutant breed of cattle. Its origins date back to the 1800s when Belgian scientists and farmers decided to breed native cattle with shorthorn cattle. Over time, the breeders would select the biggest and strongest animals of each variety and breed them together. What you get is an extremely lean, hyper-sculpted, ultra-muscular physique that is termed double muscling. The cow gets this way from a natural mutation in the myostatin gene, which codes for the protein myostatin, which stops muscle growth. The mutation also interferes with fat deposition, which results in a very lean meat. These cattle have a muscle yield around 20% more on average than cattle without the genetic myostatin mutation. Gen pets. Okay, so this isn't a real animal created by scientists, but Gen pets needs to be in this list, and is probably one of the greatest hoaxes in modern history. The marketing behind this shrink-wrap pet was so good that many people believed that they were real. The creator, Adam Brandeis, created the pet and the website where you could purchase one with either a 1-year lifespan or a 3-year lifespan. Talk about creepy. The real-life versions of the Gen pet actually look alive thanks to some special circuitry and robotics. They cause mixed reactions from people who thought the pet was actually real, from some being angry protests to some people being angry they were actually tricked because the marketing photos of the packaging and the pet were real. In either way, the Gen pet was certainly marketing genius, driving home the main point that life is not a disposable commodity. Sterile pink bollworm. The pink bollworm is a serious pest when it comes to cotton farming. Not only do the young larvae inflict damage to the cotton plant by their feeding, they chew through the cotton lint to feed on the seeds. Since cotton is used for fiber and oil, the damage is twofold. The problem was so bad that cotton crops were plowed over right as they were harvested, some irrigating the earth to drown the pest. Some farmers even burned their fields, but this was not enough. By creating a sterile moth to mate with wild females, the female then lays unfertilized eggs. This might sound like some new technology, but these sterile pink bollworm moths were first released into the wild in 1968. Even with these new techniques in place, the pink bollworm is still a problem. Glowfish. At first, it might not seem like these fish are real, but they are. Glowfish are a brand of genetically engineered fluorescent fish. The very first fish to hit the market was the zebrafish, which come in a rainbow of colors including starfire red, electric green, sunburst orange, cosmic blue, and galactic purple. It is sold only in the United States, where it remains the only genetically modified animal to be publicly available. These fish were genetically engineered by working with jellyfish protein to develop a fish that could detect pollution by selectively fluorescing in the presence of environmental toxins. Because tropical aquarium fish are not used for food purposes, they pose no threat to the food supply. There is no evidence that these genetically engineered zebra danio fish pose any more threat to the environment than their unmodified counterparts. So they can now be sold as pets for an aquarium full of amazing and colorful fish. See-through goldfish. There are a lot of reasons to genetically engineer creatures such as see-through rats, see-through frogs, and even see-through goldfish. The main reason is that when used in medical research, you do not need to dissect the animal you are studying on. And what's more, you can see everything in the creature working, the beating heart and other organs working in plain view. The transparent goldfish serves this same purpose. The joint team of researchers at Maya University and Nagoya University in central Japan produced the Ryukin goldfish by picking mutant hatchery goldfish with pale skin and breeding them together. You can actually watch how the goldfish matures and grows bigger inside and out. But while goldfish are easier to keep, frogs are higher forms of life and therefore preferable for experiments. Dolly the sheep. On July 5, 1996, Dolly the sheep made biotech history when she became the first animal cloned from adult somatic cells. Animal cloning from an adult cell is much more difficult than from an embryonic cell. So when scientists working at the Roslin Institute in Scotland produced Dolly, it was a story that shocked the world. She only lived to the age of 7, which is young for a sheep. Some thought that the reason she didn't live as long was because she was a clone. However, it was later determined that Dolly had a form of lung cancer called ovine pulmonary adenocarcinoma, which is a fairly common disease of sheep. Dolly was the only lamb born from 277 previous attempts to clone a sheep. Some people thought that humans would be next. However, scientists don't see a need to clone humans. Pharmaceutical camels. Many people might not know this, but camel's milk can be used to produce pharmaceutical proteins used in drugs. And by creating genetically modified camels, it's a real inexpensive way to produce it. The camels will be used to make genetically modified milk, which will then be processed into cheaper drugs for some Middle East countries and North Africa. But there is still a problem with cloning these animals, as the birth rate from cloned embryos is as little as 5%. This means that for every 100 cloned embryos implanted, only 5 are carried to term and delivered. Why not cows, since they produce more milk? Cows aren't really suited for such extreme heat and harsh living conditions as you would find in the Middle East. Camels can be kept in arid areas and are used to living under harsh conditions.